Take a quick look at the other networks and their coverage of the conflict with Iran. It's one negative story after another. Many so-called journalists even parroting Iranian propaganda while treating everything that Donald Trump says with an unyielding level of skepticism. John Brennan, I tend to believe the Iranians more than Donald Trump. That's on NBC. And the anti-American, anti-Trump hysteria is so insane, even one columnist at the New York Times is calling it out. Quote, the New York Times, if past generations could see how well this war has gone compared with the ones they were compelled to fight at a frightening cost, they would marvel at their posterity's comparative good fortune. They would marvel, too, at our inability to appreciate the advantages we now possess. In less than a month, Iran's ability to project force anywhere in the world has been pretty much wiped out without any boots on the ground. This is such a historic success. Most Americans are trying to obscure out of their sheer hatred for Donald Trump. One person that is fair, objective, and understands history he might be the sole voice of reason now in the Democratic Party, is Pennsylvania Senator Sen Fetterman, who is with us. Senator, welcome back. Good to have you. Can I just ask you, how is it we're going to get to the deadline when your fellow senators are about to go on recess, and that might be the only motivation from stopping Americans from being inconvenienced, waiting 5, 6, 7 hours in some cases online just to get to a TSA agent, just so they can get to the terminal and get on their plane and travel wherever they're going? Why is that the motivation?
I truly don't know at this point. For me, I've said this from the beginning and remind everybody there was a long shutdown just last year too. And I was one of the rare Democrats to refuse that too. And now here we are at the airport every week. I talk to countless TSA agents and they are all hurting. They are angry. They are frustrated. They're exhausting too, what they've been put through. Now, these are not wealthy people. They earn around $50,000 a year. That should be our wheelhouse. I mean, they're union government workers, and now if we refuse to give them a paycheck, don't talk about affordability if you don't even provide them with a paycheck. So it's always wrong, regardless whatever the party's doing at shutting down our government. And you can see the kinds of chaos that's created across our right now. They're selling their blood. They have to take, pay loans and just this kinds of chaos. So it's fundamentally wrong, and that's why I refuse to be a part of it. And I'll reopen this DHS. It's wrong, and we're making our nation less safe, and it's also creating mass chaos. And now remember, with spring break, and now also the preparations for World Cup also now has largely been stunted too. So it's wrong, and I'll never be a part of this.
Tell me, you're there, you're in the cloakroom, you talk to members on both sides of the aisle. Am I wrong? Is Chad Pegram wrong in saying that Democrats were proposing that they would be willing to fund all of the Department of Homeland Security less ICE, and now that the president is open to it and Republicans are open to it, now they're against it again? I mean, why do they want this shutdown?
I truly don't know who's on first. I mean, with a lot of this, it's just a fundamental, simple thing. Just to acknowledge that this has gone, it should have never happened, but it's gone way too long. We've all witnessed the kinds of chaos in our nation. Do the right thing. Put the country ahead of the party. Now there's a huge rally, another No Kings kinds of protest. So now it's also probably motivating some people in my party that now they might be afraid to reopen now because they are demanding these kinds of extremes, what they think is a solution, that there was ever going to be a solution. They never had any leverage to force any kinds of changes in ICE or over controlled funding because of the big, beautiful bill.
Let me ask you what conditions need to be had in Iran, in your mind, for this to be as successful a mission as possible. One of the things that comes to my mind off the top of my head is we cannot allow what Steve Witkoff told us, what really became the imminent threat that everybody talked about, the 60% enriched uranium that the Iranians were bragging about, which can be weapons grade, 90% enriched within 7 to 12 days. That cannot end up in the wrong hands of anybody, the wrong hands of people, and they can't have that. Somehow that is either going to be turned over to us or taken by us or the Israelis. I would also argue any place, anywhere, anytime inspections. And I kind of expect that Donald Trump, if there is a deal aspect to this, the Iranians are going to have to pay us back for all the billions of dollars this military effort has cost us. Your thoughts, what are the things you think you need for this to come to an end?
What I think, we just have to acknowledge too that this has been, I think it's been a profound development in that region right now. Even the Saudi Arabians are now saying, keep going and make sure, you have this incredible ability to remake that entire region. And now they've effectively destroyed their entire military apparatus. They're not able to really engage in any kinds of traditional warfare. What those cowards can do, they fire off some random drones at civilians. They can't engage our traditional military capabilities. That's a fact. That's all they can do. And now they've had the Ayatollah at weekends at Bernie's. I mean, like they can't even have any proof of life. I mean, are they wheeling around that corpse? They don't know who's the leader right now. Zero proof of life since in February when he was originally struck. And now you watch all those kinds of videos about those strikes. We've destroyed their navy. They've destroyed their missile capabilities as well too. They have any ability to strike now. So here we are now. Iran doesn't have any of the kinds of military capabilities to have effectively. So I don't know why people can't. So that this is a great development and really, back this until it's final. What that looks right now. I think the president really wants peace at this place, but who knows? But for me, I've been the only Democrat that supports epic fury.
All right, we appreciate your honesty, and let's hope this comes to a quick end. The president is believing that will be happening 3 to 4 weeks. That's the timeline I keep hearing. I hope that is true. I hope we bring our national treasure home. Senator, thank you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.